So picking up now from 2 segments ago, from the lunge that we did on the chair, now we'll take it into a back bend. We'll use one blanket underneath the chair, like so. This is to support the knee and the ankle, okay? And then go ahead and come into a hands and knees. And then from here, take your right leg forward and match that left knee back underneath the blanket. And then find the sides of your chair. You can either move them in or move a little further back, but the idea here is that you have the chair to, one, support a lift through the spine, so that you can move into the back bend with a little bit more support, but also so that you can be reminded to bring the glutes forward, not pinching, squeezing them, but to encourage them to move forward so that there can be more of a length and opening through the pelvic floor. So the legs are naturally quite active, right? So that earth element, that base, that stability needs to be there in order for us to grow and to open into the back bend. So the front leg, we're really moving into a variation of Anjaneasana. So that front heel and the front inner thigh are moving towards one another. Those legs are really engaged. Yeah? And then from here, the top of the thigh is moving down, and then from your knee pressing back towards the heel, while the hamstring from the low back of the knee is traveling up to the area where the glute attaches. And so from here, pushing down into the chair and using that to remind you to broaden through the fronts of the shoulders and take them back. And then from the broadening of the shoulders, taking them back, begin to lift from the base of the spine. So the low abdomen is rising up to meet the sternum. And then as those shoulders continue to broaden and open, the tips of the shoulders can move in towards one another, and the sternum can broaden even more. Be gentle with this. Keep coming back to the base, really working down through the legs, and finding that alignment through the hips that is so essential. Yeah? So making sure that you're not compensating on one side or another, although the legs are asymmetrical. And then from there, take it back. Maybe the head goes all the way to the back of the chair, depending on which kind of chair you have. But that's not really essential here. What's essential, what's most interesting, is that you're countering the pose that you're in most of the day, right? That flexion of the spine. So again, rooting down, and then rising from the low abdomen, broadening through the shoulders, rooting down through the legs again. It's easy to forget, especially that front leg, I find easy to forget. So maybe easier to bring that foot in a little bit more. No concerns about the knee hyperextending because you're not weight bearing here. Yeah, you're just really working the muscles. And then going from there, lifting up through the abdomen, and broadening, and opening, and growing. What's unique about the air element? What does air have that no brings to the equation that none of the other elements do? Consider that as we move on over to the second side. Yeah? So you can still be on this side, just come back to that, take the top position, slide the front leg back, and slide that back leg forward. And then again, position yourselves in a way that gives you the most stability possible. Yeah? So, front inner groin
moves out towards the front knee, the heel, and then the sit bone of that front leg and the heel of that front leg are drawing towards one another. All the while, the front of the thigh of your back leg is pushing down. I know there's so much to consider. But then once you consider these things, you recognize that they travel into so many of the other places. Yeah, so it just becomes a natural awareness that you develop. So the front thigh pushing down from the top down, all the way to the back heel. And then from the hamstring, from the back of the knee, lift up, lift up. Pushing down to the chair, broadening to the shoulders. Lift up to the low abdomen. And you go. You just take a moment, come back, check in with your low back. If there's a little tension, you probably went too far. Yeah? So again, being more mindful of the base, of really keeping that stability. Let's give it another go. Yeah, pushing down through those legs, squaring through those hips, and then lifting up through the abdomen. Sternum lifting. Back of the head supported, imagining the back of the chair there for you already before you get there. Maybe even taking your elbows to the back of the chair and lift up to the sternum. So air creates mobility. Without air, nothing moves. Pulsation that you feel of your heart is due to the air element. Everything that moves is due to the air element. And what is the chakra that corresponds to air? Anahata. Anahata chakra. What is it like when it's balanced, when it's deficient, when it's in excess? Let's go ahead and take another pose as we explore these questions. And now for this one, it will be more of a restorative type of back bend. Yeah? Sometimes when you're at the office, you don't really feel like you have the energy to do that much work, right? So it could be something a little bit more gentle. And of course, depending on the kind of chair you have, this variation may not be appropriate, but at least will give you an idea of how to reverse this. Yeah? Props are wonderful for that, right? They really provide. So if it is a chair like this, you would turn it this way, and you take one of your two blankets, fold it up in two, like so, just to give you a little cushion, maybe a second blanket if you have it. Because the idea of a more restorative type of asana is that you get to stay there for a while, yeah, for some time. So the legs are bent at first. You can move the flesh out of the way so that you are more on your sits bones, and then move on back, or maybe slide the chair in towards you. And the idea here is that you have a little support for the middle back, and then you also get some support for the head. And then from there, maybe you take your hands to the base of the skull, lift up, and then allow the shoulders to broaden, allow gravity to take everything down. And open and release here. That's it. That's it. So as you stay here, enjoying this open, receptive shape that you're in, let me share with you a little bit about what Anahata chakra is like when balanced. You are free to have compassion, to be emphatic. You have tremendous amounts of inspiration and a sense of vitality from which to take that inspiration into action. When, however, anahata is depleted, you're missing on the movement that is essential to do things. So you feel stuck, you feel isolated, unable to take action and to move forward with your ideas. As where when there is excess of anahata chakra, or of the air element for that matter, then there is a difficulty on creating boundaries. There may be issues with codependency, or just a nervous, a sense of tension and stress more than a situation calls for. So feel free to stay here for as long as you like, as long as your head is supported and the shoulders are broadening. It's a wonderful place even to do your breath work. Yeah? So go ahead and continue to explore that. And when you're ready, I will find you on our next video, where we will explore the